hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's how the Declaration of Independence begins. It ends with the line, "With a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." When this country was founded, the aspiration was high. The men who imagined it dreamed big, casting a vision of a world where all men were created equal, where rights were endowed by our Creator, transcending culture and expectations of the day, where life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness would be allowed and enjoyed without infringement. It was a radical and a new vision born from Enlightenment optimism, which was taking hold in educated circles, inspired by scientific discovery and the dismantling of entrenched power systems. The founders saw that shaking off embedded religious and political systems was possible, as were previously unimaginable feats like vaccinating children from deadly diseases and discovering things like electricity and oxygen. It was a heady time filled with hope and possibility, and when it came time to separate from the motherland, they dreamed big. Governments are to be instituted by the people, deriving their power by the governed, who can determine their own levels of safety and happiness and regulate the course of the nation based on their own values. It was an intoxicating vision, bold as the Protestant Reformation that swept all of Europe. And they had the hubris to believe they could make it happen. They who articulated and institutionalized that vision believed that this new nation would be realized by their embodiment of these visionary ideals. They staked their claim in the Declaration of Independence and institutionalized it in the Constitution. They elected their first president, and when he stepped down, relinquishing power to return to the role of citizen, those founders believed they lived to see their vision realized. A new president ran for office, and the republic was up and running. It was done. A new world order. Those men weren't distracted by the genocide of the indigenous people they inspired or the enslavement of Black people they demanded for this nation to be born. They declared equality while swimming in a sea of inequality. When they declared all men are created equal, they meant white, Protestant, wealthy men. They didn't mean women. They weren't including Black people either those who had been enslaved or those who were free. It didn't include Catholics, Jews, anyone from the continent of Asia, or even white men who didn't own land. They were so proud of their inclusivity, so inspired by their own cutting-edge philosophy. They really had no idea how narrow it was, how constricted, how small a vision. The words were lofty, as was the intent, but the reality of what they created in that moment was undersized. The men who wrote those words were calling into being a more perfect union. They were establishing justice, ensuring domestic tranquility, securing the blessing of liberty. They believed that they and the men of their generation would will this nation into being. They would establish the structures required for such a grand vision. They would test it, and it would be done. They didn't realize it would require many more people, many different voices. They didn't know how many generations would have to be part of the creation of that dream, how long it would take before the nation they imagined would be made manifest. The America as it was imagined 250 years ago has yet to be born. We are gestating it, all of us, and we have been for hundreds of years. And this upcoming election isn't going to end the incubation, bringing the nation to full embodiment. It might move us closer. It might move us further away. It's even possible we will stay still. But this is a long pregnancy, and we need more time. Over these 2.5 centuries, we've become more inclusive, but we haven't fully expanded. Not every voice, not every story, not every person is heard or seen yet. The dream of America is beautiful. It's inspiring. It hasn't happened. The election is not going to deliver it, but it could bring us a little closer. It's possible that one of those people, those founders couldn't even see, would become president. A woman, a Black woman, an Asian woman, a middle-class woman. Her nomination alone has ignited hope in millions of people who were becoming exhausted. But I'm not talking about candidates today, and I'm not even talking about the election. I'm talking about our ideals, our shared values, our American principles. I'm talking life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm talking about a place every person is free to discover who they are without being hindered by government. A place every person is given room to explore and to love and to express themselves in all the ways that are right for them. It's the possible, the potential America we are waiting and working for. There are two visions of our future being pitched by two parties, two visions being discussed and fought over by pundits and by average people who are sure we know what American values are and how they ought to be realized. As a nation not yet, a nation still and always in a state of becoming, these are two very different ways of understanding who we are. So what are our American values? I mean, everyone is talking about it, but really what are they? What truths do we hold? Here and now, what truth is self-evident? What truth do we believe is at the foundation of our lives? What is the vision of America we are hoping to birth, to deliver into the world as it waits, as we all wait for the next incarnation of this long-held promise? When this nation was founded, we started with the concept of the royal hierarchy. We decided that that was too small, too limited, too exclusive. The Declaration of Independence outlined all the things the current monarch did that they found unjust, but that wasn't the problem. They weren't looking to swap it for a new monarchy. The Declaration started with the concept of equality among a much wider group of people and of a God-given right, not a government-given right, but by virtue of being human, a God-given right to live unencumbered by governmental systems. We are born with the right to be free, to pursue our own happiness, to live according to our own choices. Winning the War of Independence didn't settle the issue. They next had to figure out what that meant, and in doing so found their way to more specifics. They wrote the Constitution to outline a new form of representative government, which began famously with the line, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union." That's because they had already formed a union with the Articles of Confederation, but it wasn't working. They were trying again. The Constitution is a second draft. After writing it, they found quickly that they needed to outline a few things more specifically, thus the Bill of Rights. They named basic freedoms: speech, press, assembly, religion. They offered the right to a speedy trial, to bear arms to secure a free state, the right to keep soldiers from taking over your home. With those 10 amendments, it looked like they'd codified our new American values and found a way for them to be made manifest in our governmental system. But that isn't how this works. In time, there were more amendments guaranteeing citizenship, giving women the right to vote, eliminating a poll tax, creating an income tax, stopping people from drinking and then letting people drink again, limiting the terms of presidency, ensuring succession, changing the voting age, ending slavery, and providing equal protection to Black people who were, in these amendments, finally also free. Each change represents the evolution of our thinking, and each time a change is made, there's a story, usually a fight, because there have always been two or more visions of America at play. We are not a single nation, but a conglomerate of regions, each with our own cultures and histories. We see it playing out again now on the national stage, two visions being offered us. They both acknowledge the imperfection of our moment. Neither think things should stay exactly as they are right now. One vision is a response to feeling like things are out of control, that we have to go back to an earlier time when life felt more predictable. It's a contraction of community, a pulling back of progress, a reaction to the speed of change. The other is an expansion of freedom, of rights for more people, more inclusion. The fear is not there moving forward, but of moving backwards, of being left out again, of losing access that was hard fought. I have to say, I empathize with the desire to go back. I don't know about you, but I think longingly about my childhood, about that time before cell phones, before 24-hour television and round-the-clock news cycles. I miss the quiet of the before times when you could leave your house and not be found, and no one worried that they didn't know exactly where you were or expected you to be able to reach you instantly. Does anyone else get texts like this? Hi. Hi. I said, hi, are you okay? Where are you? Are you okay? I'm like, oh my God. My poor son had to get out of the shower yesterday because his aunt is texting and then texting me to say he's not responding. I'm like, you have to respond. He gets out of the shower. He's like, I'm fine. That's the world. And I have great nostalgia for the world before that. But nostalgia is not a plan, and it's not going to address real world problems today. Nostalgia is also limited. So I might remember things being soft and lovely, but I wasn't pregnant and hungry and seeking a back alley abortion. I wasn't the Black mother of two trying to buy a house in a neighborhood that had been redlined to ensure informal systems of racism kept me out. I wasn't a lesbian teenager bullied and beaten after not being able to keep myself completely hidden. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We hold these truths to be self-evident. And yet, 250 years later, we can't agree on how to live like this is true and what it means in real life for most people. So we've entered this election season during which we're going to fight about going forward or going backward. And I don't know how it's going to end up. But I do know that these next 6 weeks will have us on the edge of our seats. I have a friend whose mother used to often say, and I've said this to you probably many times before, she would say, I want you to take very good care of yourself. She said it all the time. She would say it when she hung up the phone. She'd say it when we left the house. A visit ended, she would say, I want you to take very good care of yourself. Over these next 6 weeks, that's what we should do. Plan for the things that bring you joy. Spend time with friends, visit family, turn up loud music, cook pasta, take long walks, whatever it is that works for you, that brings you rest. Because we have a country to birth. We have a dream to fulfill. We were given the gift of possibility, and we are the next generation to move it forward. We will each contribute our own stories, our own hopes, our own visions, weaving together a diversity of experiences so that the idea of America could be made real. Not today, not on November 5th, maybe not in our lifetimes, but someday, that gorgeous idea, those self-evident truths will live in fulfillment, and we will have been part of its embodiment. So we have work to do, and that's why I say to you again, for today, I want you to take very good care of yourself.